What if I told you that the milk sitting in your fridge, the one you've been drinking for decades, might be one of the worst things for your circulation, testosterone, and even your prostate? Most men over 60 grew up being told that milk was essential for strong bones, strong muscles, strong health. But the truth? Some milks do the exact opposite. They increase estrogen. They spike inflammation. And worst of all, they quietly damage the parts of your body that matter most as you age: your heart, your hormones, and yes, your performance down there. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to give you the truth. Because not all milk is bad. In fact, there are 4 types of milk I recommend to my own patients, and they do the exact opposite. They reduce inflammation, balance hormones, and help restore energy, vitality, and confidence. So today, I'll walk you through the 4 milks I would never allow in my home, and the 4 you should switch to instead if you care about long-term health and performance after 60. Let's start with the worst one, the one that's probably in your fridge right now: whole cow's milk from conventional dairy farms. Now, I'm not talking about raw milk or organic pasture-raised milk. I'm talking about the kind you buy at a typical grocery store. The kind that comes from high-production factory farms. Here's what you need to know. Most conventional milk is sourced from cows that are pumped with synthetic hormones, specifically RBST, or recombinant bovine somatotropin. This hormone increases milk production. Sounds efficient, right? But here's the catch. It also increases levels of insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1, in the milk. Now, IGF-1 isn't inherently bad. Your body makes it naturally. But too much of it, especially from synthetic sources, has been linked to prostate enlargement and even increased cancer risk in older men. But that's not all. Conventional milk is also homogenized and pasteurized at high temperatures, which denatures many of the enzymes and proteins that would otherwise help your body digest it. This leads to gut inflammation, which, in older men, doesn't just mean discomfort. It means systemic inflammation that can mess with your joints, your sleep, and even your testosterone levels. And finally, there's the estrogen. Yes, estrogen. Studies have found that commercial cow's milk contains significant levels of estrogen metabolites, especially if it's taken from pregnant cows, which is common in industrial dairies. That's a problem. Because as a man over 60, your natural testosterone is already declining. And adding estrogen from your diet? That's like throwing water on a fire that's barely burning. I had a patient once, Jack, 66, retired school teacher. He was healthy for the most part, but constantly complained of low energy, soft belly fat, mood swings, and trouble in the bedroom. Nothing extreme, but just off, as he put it. He told me he had cereal every morning with a big glass of whole milk. Had done it for 30 years. I asked him to cut it. Just for 30 days. No more store-bought dairy milk. I didn't even change anything else in his diet. 3 weeks later, he came back grinning. "Doc, I don't know what you did, but I feel different. Lighter. Sharper." Turns out, it wasn't what I added. It was what I took away. Now here's what's really wild. After cutting the milk, his morning erections returned. His belly flattened out. And get this, his blood pressure dropped by 8 points. All from removing something he thought was healthy. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. The next milk on this list doesn't even come from a cow. It's plant-based. And yet, it might be just as bad, maybe even worse, depending on how it's made. The second milk to avoid? Oat milk. Yes, you read that right. I know, it's trendy. It's everywhere. Coffee shops push it like it's liquid gold. And on the surface, it seems healthy. No dairy, no lactose, made from whole grains. What could possibly be wrong with it? Well, a lot. The first red flag? Most commercial oat milk is loaded with something called maltose, a type of sugar that spikes your blood sugar even faster than table sugar. On the glycemic index, maltose scores around 105. For comparison, plain white sugar is 65. Now think about that for a second. You're trying to cut down on sugar. You're trying to keep your insulin stable because you know how dangerous insulin resistance is after 60. You want better energy, clearer thinking, better performance. And suddenly, that healthy splash of oat milk in your morning coffee is doing the exact opposite. It's spiking your blood sugar, flooding your bloodstream with insulin. And over time, that damages your blood vessels, especially the smallest ones, like the ones that matter most in the bedroom. But that's not even the worst part. Most commercial oat milk is made with industrial seed oils, canola, sunflower, rapeseed. These oils are cheap, oxidized, and inflammatory. They were never meant to be consumed in large amounts. And when they're added to oat milk, which they often are to make it creamy, you're essentially drinking a blend of sugar and omega-6 oils that inflame your gut, your joints, and your arteries. I had a guy come in, name was Raymond, 71. Super health conscious. Gym 4 days a week. Meditated daily. But he kept getting bloated after breakfast. Felt foggy. Said his libido had tanked. I asked him to write down everything he consumed before noon. There it was. Oat milk. Every morning. In his coffee. In his smoothie. Sometimes even a little extra in protein shakes. We swapped it out. Just that one change. 2 weeks later, he told me he felt like his gut deflated. His brain fog cleared. In his words, I actually wanted to be close to my wife again. It wasn't forced anymore. So if you're drinking oat milk, check the label. If it has seed oils, thickeners, added sugar, or anything you can't pronounce, toss it. And even if it's clean, be careful with the blood sugar spikes, especially first thing in the morning, because the next milk on this list, it's even more sneaky. It's marketed as being for your bones. It's advertised to older adults, specifically you. But what it's doing inside your body is anything but helpful. Let's talk about that one next. And that third one might surprise you even more. Because it's skim milk. Yes, they fat-free, heart-healthy, government-recommended skim milk that's been pushed on older adults for decades. The same milk many men switch to in hopes of lowering cholesterol, losing weight, or staying healthy after 60. But here's what nobody tells you. When you remove the fat from milk, you remove most of the nutrients that make it worth drinking in the first place. You see, vitamins A, D, E, and K, the ones your body desperately needs for hormone production, immune support, and calcium absorption, are all fat-soluble. That means without fat, your body simply can't use them properly. You might be drinking a glass of enriched skim milk, but your body's not absorbing what's printed on the label. Even worse, when you take out the fat, milk becomes a sugar liquid. 1 cup of skim milk has about 12 grams of lactose, and without fat to slow the absorption, that sugar hits your bloodstream fast. It's like drinking half a can of soda, but marketed as healthy. I had a patient, Doug, 69 years old. He was religious about his diet. Skim milk in his coffee, skim milk with his cereal, fat-free yogurt, low-fat cheese, margarine instead of butter. Everything the food pyramid told him to do. But he kept gaining weight. He was tired all the time. And no matter what he tried, his testosterone was in the basement. I told him the truth. Doug, you're starving your hormones. Your body needs fat, good fat, especially at your age. So I had him switch out every low-fat dairy item he was using and replace it with full-fat, real alternatives. Within 4 weeks, he dropped 6 pounds without changing his calories. His energy came back, and his testosterone levels? Up by 22 points. Skim milk isn't neutral. It's not just milk without fat. It's milk without nutrients, with a fast sugar hit, and zero support for the things your body actually needs after 60. And just when you think it can't get worse, there's still one more milk I'd never let my patients over 60 touch. Ever. Because it doesn't just spike blood sugar or feed inflammation. It contains compounds that can disrupt your thyroid, raise estrogen, and potentially wreck your metabolism if you drink it regularly. And the sad part? Most men drink it thinking they're doing something plant-based and smart. That fourth milk you should never drink. Soy milk. Now I know, the word soy has been wrapped in controversy for years. Some doctors say it's harmless. Others say it's dangerous. But here's the truth when it comes to men over 60. Soy milk contains phytoestrogens, plant-based compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. And for older men, that's a serious issue. Because as testosterone naturally declines with age, the last thing you want is more estrogen creeping in from your diet. That hormonal imbalance, even at a subtle level, can lead to fatigue, fat gain around the belly and chest, loss of libido, and emotional shifts that just aren't you. Now, 1 cup of soy milk here and there might not make a dramatic difference. But most soy milk drinkers aren't stopping at 1 cup. It's in their cereal, their smoothies, their coffee, every day, sometimes twice a day. And over time, that estrogenic load adds up. I had a patient named Leo. He was 64, retired engineer, extremely sharp guy. But he came into my office one day complaining about something most men don't like to talk about. He said, "Doc, I've been feeling off. Low energy. I don't feel like myself. I even started noticing this weird puffiness in my chest. First thing I asked, "How often are you eating soy?" His eyes went wide. "Why does that matter?" "I switched to soy milk 3 months ago, figured it was better than dairy." I ran his labs. His estradiol, that's one of the main forms of estrogen, was elevated. His testosterone was on the low end. I told him to cut the soy immediately. 1 month later, he came back in, visibly different. He dropped weight around the midsection. The puffiness was gone. His voice sounded more confident. His words? "I feel like I'm in control again." But soy milk's not just a hormone disruptor. Most commercial soy is genetically modified and heavily sprayed with glyphosate, a pesticide that's been linked to gut disruption, liver strain, and long-term metabolic issues. And guess what? Your liver is where hormone conversion happens. If you damage that, you don't just lose testosterone. You start producing bad forms of estrogen that circulate and cause even more imbalance. Now here's the kicker. Soy milk companies love to advertise their product as heart-healthy. They claim it reduces cholesterol. And maybe, on paper, it does. But what they don't tell you is that cholesterol is what your body uses to make testosterone. So lowering it too much, especially in aging men, can leave you hormonally empty. If you care about your energy, your strength, your drive, your performance, skip the soy milk. All right, that was the last of the never milks. Let's take a breath. You've just cleared for major threats from your daily life. But now comes the good part. Because removing the bad is only half the story. When you replace them with the right milks, the kind that support testosterone, fight inflammation, and boost circulation, that's when the transformation really begins. And the first one I recommend? It's ancient. It's rich. It's creamy. And it might be the closest thing to a testosterone tonic I've ever seen in a glass. The first milk you must choose instead is goat's milk. Now, before you write it off as exotic or hard to find, let me explain why this milk is a game changer, especially for men over 60. Goat's milk is naturally rich in medium-chain fatty acids, which are easier for your body to digest and convert into energy. Unlike cow's milk, it doesn't cause the same level of bloating, gas, or inflammation, especially for men who have become sensitive to lactose with age. But what really sets goat's milk apart is its impact on your gut and testosterone. You see, your gut isn't just for digestion. It plays a key role in hormone balance. When your gut is inflamed or out of balance, your body can't properly absorb nutrients, and your testosterone production suffers. Goat's milk has been shown to support the gut lining, reduce inflammation, and even promote better calcium and magnesium absorption, two minerals crucial for hormone production. I had a patient, Martin, 67. He came in with constant gut issues, bloating after meals, no libido, and he felt like his strength had vanished overnight. Turned out, he was mildly lactose intolerant, something that often develops with age. I switched him to goat's milk. Just a small glass in the morning with breakfast, and sometimes used in place of cream or yogurt. Within 10 days, his bloating was gone. By the end of the month, he said he felt cleaner inside, his words, and his morning energy had doubled. Now, goat's milk isn't cheap, and not every grocery store carries it. But if you can get your hands on it, even just a few times per week, it could make a massive difference. But if goat's milk isn't an option, don't worry. Because this next one is becoming easier to find, and it has a special compound that supports circulation, insulin sensitivity, and testosterone all in one. Let's talk about that next. The second milk you should choose instead is unsweetened almond milk, with no gums or oils. Now, almond milk has exploded in popularity over the last few years, but most of the stuff on store shelves? It's garbage, filled with gums, emulsifiers, synthetic vitamins, and inflammatory seed oils. You want the clean kind, unsweetened, no gums, no added oils. Why? Because almonds are packed with magnesium, vitamin E, and healthy fats that support hormone balance, vascular health, and insulin sensitivity. And when made properly, with just almonds and filtered water, almond milk is one of the cleanest plant-based milks available. Vitamin E, in particular, is essential for blood vessel elasticity. That means better blood flow, especially to areas that tend to suffer first as we age. It's also a powerful antioxidant, helping protect your cells from the oxidative stress that accelerates aging. One of my patients, Paul, 70, was dealing with chronic fatigue and mild prediabetes. He had switched from cow's milk to a popular almond milk brand, but he was still crashing mid-morning. We looked at the label. The second ingredient was cane sugar, followed by sunflower lecithin and natural flavors. I told him to ditch it and try a homemade version, or buy a brand with just 2 ingredients, almonds and water. Within a week, his energy improved. His mid-morning sugar crash vanished. And at his next checkup, his fasting glucose had dropped 11 points. Clean almond milk is gentle on the gut, supports hormone balance, and is one of the safest daily alternatives to dairy as long as you avoid the junk-filled versions. Now, the next milk I recommend? This one's especially powerful if you're looking for mental sharpness, joint health, and stable energy. Let's dive into that one. The third milk to choose instead is full-fat A2 milk from grass-fed cows. Not all cow's milk is bad. The problem with most dairy is the A1 beta-casein protein, a type of protein that many people, especially older men, have trouble digesting. It leads to inflammation, brain fog, and digestive issues. But A2 milk comes from special breeds of cows, like Jersey or Guernsey, that produce only the A2 protein, which is much gentler on the body. When the cows are grass-fed and raised without hormones or antibiotics, the milk they produce contains higher levels of omega-3s, CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, and fat-soluble vitamins like K2, all of which support testosterone, cardiovascular health, and even bone strength. I had a retired firefighter, name was Sam, 65, who missed milk more than anything. Every non-dairy milk made him feel deprived. I introduced him to A2 milk from a local farm. He started drinking a small glass every evening. No bloating, no fog. Within weeks, his sleep improved and his joint pain decreased. He said it felt like he was finally nourishing his body again. The trick here is quality over quantity. A little full-fat A2 milk from the right cows can provide far more benefit than any industrial skim milk ever could. Now we're down to the final one. This milk isn't just healthy, y'all. It may be the most therapeutic drink you can put in your body, especially if you want to repair your gut, restore your hormones, and rebuild cellular energy from the ground up. Let's finish strong. The fourth milk to choose is coconut milk, but not the kind from cartons. The kind from cans. Full fat. No added sugars. No gums. Coconut milk is rich in lauric acid, caprylic acid, and medium-chain triglycerides, all of which are converted by your liver into instant energy. And unlike most fats, these don't get stored, they get used. Lauric acid is particularly interesting. It's antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and supports a healthy balance of gut flora, which we now know plays a huge role in hormone production, mood, and even sexual health. I recommend coconut milk especially for men who feel like their digestion is weak, their energy is inconsistent, and they've lost that spark. It's soothing to the gut, rich and satisfying, and helps stabilize blood sugar after meals. You can mix it with protein powder, add it to smoothies, or even make a nighttime tonic with turmeric, cinnamon, and a pinch of black pepper. Now let's recap. The 4 milks you should never drink: conventional cow's milk, oat milk with oils and sugars, skim milk, soy milk, and the 4 you should: goat's milk, clean almond milk, grass-fed A2 cow's milk, full-fat coconut milk from cans. Each one of these helps your body in a different way: circulation, testosterone, good health, or energy. But when you combine them smartly, something powerful happens. You start to feel like yourself again. Your energy returns. Your digestion improves. Your mornings feel stronger. Your nights feel younger. And the best part? You don't have to give anything up. You're just swapping what doesn't serve you for what does. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, remove the bad milks, every single one. Swap in the good ones. Observe what changes. I promise you, you'll feel it. And in the next video, I'll show you how to combine these milks with specific herbs and spices to create powerful healing tonics that target joint pain, blood pressure, prostate health, and more. So if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed, because we're just getting started.